honor, et cetera. It proves your work and it proves your value to your team. There also is a financial value because you are eligible. I don't want to get into all the details, but you're eligible long-term for more money the more times you are on first, second, third team, or you're an MVP, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a financial part of it as well. And he is going to petition the league, just like Luka is, saying, hey, we should be eligible, et cetera. I don't know that they're going to win that. And Brian Windhorst, ESPN Senior NBA Insider Hoop Collective podcast, available wherever podcasts are found, was on PTI yesterday and gave this response as to whether or not the league is going to change anything with this 65-game rule.
I think the league likes the rule. I think it is functioning. There are moments with it that I think make the league look a little punitive here. Actually, one of the things that I've learned is I watch these players really stretch to get to this limit. They really like these awards. Whatever they want to say, their actions indicate they care about getting onto these lists and getting, into these honors. And here's the thing, I'll just put forth Nikola Jokic. He has been sitting with a game to spare now for 5-6 weeks, and he has continued to play and continued to play. He can't say he doesn't care about awards either. But I also think that it just shows how many of games would he have maybe missed if he didn't have to hit that. The behavior of the star players indicates that this number means something. And yes, you can point to the players who may miss the award, a chance to get an award by a game or two. The league would privately point to, look how many players got it by a game or two, and look how many games they played, including national television games, which was the point of all this. So while it is unpopular, it is working, whether anybody wants to admit it publicly or not.
Quick follow-up from Wendy on that before we dive into it. Players like awards or players like money?
Money. Because the award is tied to money, like
right.
You just laid out with the future earnings that you can be eligible for. I don't think, of course, it'd be cool to say I have an MVP, I win Sixth Man of the Year, I'm a part of the first team All-NBA, but when it's tied financially to your earnings eventually of what you can earn, that's way more important than any piece of hardware.
Guys, of course, want the cash, but listen to what Victor Wemby.
We are officially at the strangest part of the NBA season. Not the playoffs yet. Not the regular season anymore. It's what I call award eligibility season. And it produces some of the weirdest conversations in all of sports. Last night, Cade Cunningham came back from a collapsed lung. Not a sore knee. Not a tweaked ankle. A collapsed lung. 3 weeks ago, he couldn't breathe normally. Last night, he played 26 minutes against the Bucks and helped drop 137 points. And what are we talking about today? Not his courage. Not his recovery. We are talking about whether he's played enough games to win MVP. This clip from Chris Candy's show breaks down exactly why the NBA's 65-game rule is broken, and why Cade Cunningham is about to get screwed by a rule that wasn't even designed for guys like him. So here's the setup. The crew pulls up the numbers. Cade has played 61 games so far. 2 games left in the regular season. If he plays both, he gets to 63. That's 1 game short of the 65-game threshold for awards. Now watch what happens next. They start talking about the financial side because that's what nobody wants to admit out loud. Being named All-NBA or MVP isn't just a trophy. It triggers Supermax eligibility. It changes contracts. It changes legacies. We are talking about tens of millions of dollars. Then they bring in Brian Windhorst's clip from PTI. And Windhorst says something fascinating. He says the league likes the rule. It's working. Players are stretching to hit 65 games. Jokey. C has been sitting at 64 games for weeks and keeps playing because he wants the award. He literally says their actions indicate they care about getting into these honors. But here's the kicker. Windhorst admits the rule looks punitive in some cases. And then the host says Cade Cunningham can file a challenge. Luka can file a challenge. Extraordinary circumstances clause. And that's when Canty drops the truth. He says they did this to themselves though, did they not? The players weren't playing. And the other host pushes back immediately. He says, I don't think we can lump these players into the group that caused the 65-game rule in the first place. That's the whole debate right there. Let me explain what's actually happening here. The 65-game rule was created because of load management. Because stars were sitting out national TV games. Because Kawhi Leonard would miss 20 games for knee management and still make All-NBA. The league got tired of fans paying $500 for a ticket and watching the third string. So they created a hard line. Play 65 games or no awards. No exceptions. No excuses. That sounds reasonable until you look at the guys getting hurt by it this year. Luka Jokic, hamstring. Victor Wembanyama, deep vein thrombosis, out for the season. And Cade Cunningham, collapsed lung. These aren't load management guys. These are guys who got legitimately injured. Dangerously injured. And now they're being punished by a rule designed to punish someone else. E-Clip makes this point perfectly when the host says very clearly this award and all that it means, legacy and financially, means so much to him that he's rushing his way back to get it. So that should prove to the NBA that this wasn't somebody that fit into that category of why the rule needed to be created in the first place. Think about that. Cade Cunningham is rushing back from a collapsed lung against maybe his own long-term health, because he knows that if he doesn't hit 65 games, he loses millions and loses his chance at All-NBA. The rule isn't making him play more. It's making him play hurt. That's not the same thing. Now here's where it gets interesting. The CBA actually has an extraordinary circumstances challenge. Players can petition the league if they miss games due to something outside normal injuries. A collapsed lung. That should qualify. But here's what nobody is saying out loud. The league doesn't want to open that door. Because once you grant one exception, everyone wants one. My hamstring was really bad. My grandmother was sick. The travel was too hard. The league wants a hard line because hard lines are easy to enforce. No grey area. No debates. But that's also incredibly unfair to someone like Cade Cunningham. He played 61 games. He missed time because his lung collapsed. Not because he was tired. Not because it was a back-to-back. Because he physically could not breathe. And now he's going to play the last 2 games, probably more minutes than he should, just to get to 63. And it still won't be enough. He'll be 1 game short. 1 game. Because of a collapsed lung. The show ends this section with the host saying he's rushing his way back to get it. That's not a compliment to the system. That's an indictment. So what's the solution? In my opinion, the NBA should do 2 things. First, grant the extraordinary circumstances petition for Cade Cunningham. A collapsed lung is not load management. Let him be eligible for All-NBA if the voters think he deserves it. Second, add a real exception to the rule. Not for general soreness. For serious medical events. For things that actually threaten a player's health or life. That's not a slippery slope. That's common sense. Because right now, the message the NBA is sending is this. It doesn't matter why you missed games. It doesn't matter if you almost died. It only matters if the number is 65 or higher. That's not competitive. That's bureaucratic. Look, I understand why the rule exists. The load management era was embarrassing. Fans were right to be angry. But the NBA went from one extreme to another. They went from no accountability to zero flexibility. And now a 23-year-old All-Star who just came back from a collapsed lung is going to be told he doesn't qualify for All-NBA because he was 1 game short. That's not justice. That's a headline the league does not want. Cade Cunningham didn't game the system. He beat a collapsed lung. And the NBA's response might be doesn't matter. Should have played more. That's wrong. So here's my question. Should the NBA grant Cade Cunningham an exception? Or do you hold the line at 65 games no matter what? Drop your take in the comments. Do you agree with me? Or do you think rules are rules? And if you want more breakdowns like this where we actually look at the human side of the business, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. And seriously, appreciate your health. See you in the next one.